Ontario Place Revitalization Panel recommends a new course of action that will attract a critical mass of visitors, residents, and workers required to turn the site into a cornerstone of the redevelopment on Lake Ontario's waterfront. They also recommend a majority of the site should be parkland with both natural and programmed elements, but the talk of condos has caused some worry.
I think having people living at Ontario Place is important to bringing the site to life 12 months a year, and I think a government properly motivated and properly disciplined can make sure that the development there is not a wall of condos.
I really do believe the government has to play a role in making sure that this public space stays a public space for families.
Can we still keep them small and keep it from being a wall of condos like Mr. Tory said? I'm not sure that's possible.
Lake Ontario supplies drinking water to millions. It also provides recreational enjoyment and habitat for wildlife, but its shoreline is under stress. Urbanization has impacted habitat life along the waterfront by replacing the natural environment with concrete and artificial rock. If these interface areas between the lake and the shore are degraded, it makes it hard for migrating birds to refuel before they continue on their journey. The City of Toronto is a biannual stopover location for thousands of migratory birds. There are currently 3 areas along Toronto's shoreline that provides a suitable habitat for these migrating birds, that being High Park, the Toronto Islands, and Tommy Thompson Park. I am proposing that Ontario Park begins its revitalization with the re-naturalizing of the shoreline. By providing key areas such as wetlands, forested areas, and beaches, which will help Ontario Park contribute as well as become a destination for bird watching. In addition to providing a suitable habitat for migratory birds, the park will have an abundance of open and programmed space that will be open all year round. The success of Ontario Park means looking at its position within the City of Toronto. Currently, the site has physical and infrastructural barriers such as Lakeshore Boulevard, the Gardiner Expressway, and the Canadian Pacific Railway that prevent ease of accessibility. I am proposing that the Province of Ontario and the City of Toronto form a partnership which will coordinate the selling and leasing of public land that will help fund the infrastructural improvements and the revitalization of Ontario Place as a public park. Ontario Park. Inspired by a passage from Ken Greenberg's book, Walking Home. We begin downtown where the streetscape is snug and compact. The distance from one sidewalk to the unbroken line of facades on the other side of the thoroughfare is short, and we can easily make out expressions on the faces of people across the street. The city blocks are narrow and traffic moves slowly, stopping at frequent traffic signals. I began to formulate a walkable grid that responded well to the site area of 25 hectares. Looking at the characteristic of Dundas and College Street block formation, long narrow blocks with retail at the top and bottom and residential in the middle, confined to 25 hectares, I manipulated Toronto's block in order to create an active street level with shops, cafes, and office space, and residential placed above. The vision for the exhibition grounds is to create a vibrant mixed-use waterfront neighbourhood and a re-naturalized Ontario Park. Density and walkability are key themes in the new self-sustaining neighbourhood that will help support and fund the revitalization of Ontario Park. The first phase will take place on the existing parking lots of the CNE ground. The second phase of this master plan will be implemented on the remaining open areas while still keeping the historic buildings intact. Moving forward with Phase 1, the new waterfront neighbourhood, Exhibition Place, made sure that key events that happen on the exhibition grounds and Lakeshore are still intact with only minor rerouting. The Exhibition Place design will establish a continuous and active public water's edge between the western shoreline and the central waterfront. The extension of the 29A Dufferin Bus will loop through the neighbourhood and connect to the existing 509 and 511 streetcar. The network of streets and lanes will have key connections to Dufferin Street, Atlantic Avenue, and Strawn Avenue, which will ensure a continuous flow through the site. A land bridge over Lakeshore will allow for a continuous street grid to the water's edge. The circulation is intended to assure the ease, comfort, and compatibility of pedestrian, cyclist, transit, and vehicular movement. East-west streets will be dedicated to moving vehicular traffic to main arteries in the city. North-south streets will be dedicated to pedestrian and cyclist needs with one vehicular lane. Design principles that were considered during the building mass study. Strengthen physical and visual connections to the water. Develop a continuous and active public water's edge. Promote an active street life. And create an overall built form that steps down to the water's edge.